Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to give it a few minutes for anyone else who's wondering about to turn up. And then we'll start on with the introductions and then head on over to today's demo. Better go put my Teams on Do Not Disturb. So while we're waiting, those of you already inside, how many of you already use Microsoft 365 Copilot or are considering it as a option to purchase? Show of hands if you may. Oh, okay. Russell, Sedenka, yeah. Excellent. Colleen as well. Okay, one more person. Okay. Oh. Excellent. Right. Okay. I think we've got more than 50% of the signed up users now in the room. Angela, shall we kick off?
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you all for attending or turning up. Today's session is about Microsoft Teams and Outlook and how Copilot kind of integrates within those applications. Now, for the customers in here of Avensis Tech, you may be aware that I use Copilot on a daily basis, and you may get emails from me or Teams responses from me that sometimes may look like AI. Angela is a Copilot expert from Jercom. She's here to talk all things Copilot, and she's an invaluable resource to Avensis Tech when it comes to things like this. I've obviously been using Copilot for the last 18 months, so I use it quite regularly within these two apps. And I feel this is where recruiters may find the most value within Copilot, both between Teams and Outlook. I will chip in from time to time, hopefully not tread on Angela's toes, but the duration of the demo is about 20 minutes. At the end of that demo, we'll then go into question and answer session. I'll also obviously offer some of my expert advice from my experience using it. Today's demos are recorded because you never know what can pop up in terms of sensitive information when you're trying to do these things. But yeah, if you have any questions, etc., do raise your hands, and then Angela or I will get you either through the Q&A or by unmuting your mic. Well, for the moment, I will take pause and leave Angela to it. So enjoy the show.
Thanks, Ken. So yeah, let's get started. Some of you probably were on the previous webinar, so welcome back. So this is going to be basically seeing Copilot in action with some of the applications that Ken touched on. So just to refresh everybody's brain, just in case there are some new people that's attended this webinar, Microsoft 365 Copilot is included within all the applications that you can see at the top there. So Teams, Outlook, PowerPoint, etc. And we're only going to be focusing on Outlook and Teams today, but we have got other webinars within the next couple of weeks that you can join so you can see Copilot in action within the other applications. So let's get started with how Copilot can work within Outlook. So I'm not just going to be talking about how it can, I'm not just going to show you a screen on these are the features that Copilot works with. I'm going to show you actual demos as well. But these are some of the popular features that Copilot works within Outlook. So drafting with Copilot kind of says it in the name. You can get Copilot to draft you emails. Now, there is a new capability, which I'm not going to demo today because it's only just been released. So it's integrating now. and it's not fully integrated within my Outlook just yet, but this is quite exciting. So there is a new capability called customization. So when you want, Can has already touched on this, that you may have seen some emails come through from Can which might sound kind of AI. It's been responded by AI. The customization piece will let you pre-input how you want Copilot to draft you emails based on the tone, based on the length of your email, how you want Copilot to greet and end the email as well. So basically, make it sound more like you. And so every time you ask Copilot to draft you an email, to respond back to a client, to respond back to a candidate, it's going to sound more like you, and then you don't have to do those tweaks yourself. Okay. Coaching, I'm going to show you that in live in a demo as well. So it's basically looking at how you're going to respond back to a recipient, how is your writing style, give you some feedback, so you can incorporate that within your email as well. You can schedule with Copilot. So we no longer have to go through people's busy calendars to figure out when is a mutual time to book in a meeting. Somebody says they can't see my presentation. Is that the same for everyone else? Anybody can just drop. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so if you could just, drop off and just come back in, hopefully you can see the presentation. Thanks, everyone. So yes, where was I? So you can schedule with Copilot. I'll show you a demo on that. Summary by Copilot. When you have a load of unread emails and you need to get through them, maybe you've got a lot of chain of emails as well, just to get on top of your work a lot more quickly, there is a button called Summary. So you'll get up to date with what's going on rather than going through the whole entire email. So you can respond back more quickly or move on to the next one. You can create a rule with Copilot. So let's say, for example, you no longer want emails coming through from a certain recipient, or you want it moved to a certain folder. Usually you'd have to do that manually, creating a rule. You can just have that human interaction with Copilot, and Copilot will kind of pre-populate all of the kind of like the policy features that you want within your rule, and you just need to action that off. So it makes it a lot more easier to create rules. And prioritizing your emails, I'm going to save that to show you in my demo. So yeah, you can start to tidy up your inbox a lot more easily. Moving on to Teams. Again, there's a lot more features than this, but these are some of the popular ones. So you can catch up on Teams meetings. So you no longer have to miss anything that's going on just because you can't attend it. You can stay up to date with group chats. So Copilot does work on Teams chats as well, not just group chats, individual chats as well. A lot of the times I use Copilot in Teams chat on group ones, and I say, Anthony, who's my manager, sent us a document. I don't want to scroll through everything, or maybe it was a link, etc. Can you find it for me? And Copilot will say, well, this is what you're referring to. So find that information a lot more quickly with Copilot. Support you in live Teams meetings. That's going to be in one of my demos today, so you can see in action. Live note taking for all. I don't have a demo on this, but basically we only need one Copilot license. So if you have a Teams meeting internally and people join that meeting, some people don't have Copilot licenses, that's fine. You can turn on something called Facilitator, and Facilitator is basically Copilot note-taking in real time that everybody can see and change the notes, add more information, etc. So everybody's on the same page. And that's quite new. So Facilitator is definitely something that is one of the most popular agents that's been released. And it's also applicable for people that don't have Copilot if they join that Teams meeting. So that's quite good. And you can also rewrite with Copilot. So what I mean by that is if you're writing something quite lengthy on a Teams chat or group chat, you can click onto Copilot and it can change that wording for you if you want it to. Right. So we're nearly into the demos. I just want to share with you the prompt gallery. So anybody that does have Copilot right now or looking to adopt it very soon, please use Copilot Prompt Library or Gallery. They keep changing the name. And there's filters on there, which you can see in my demo here. So I've clicked on Outlook and you can change what kind of task you want to do with Copilot. And it will show you some popular prompts that you can start to use, and you can copy and paste that into the application that you're using, in this case Outlook or Teams. So it gives you some inspiration rather than feeling underwhelmed or using the same prompt over and over again. Look at the gallery and you can save your favorite prompts, so you don't have to go through this whole library itself. You can go onto your saved ones and click onto them instead. Right, let's get into the demos. So anybody that don't know, Copilot within Teams works on transcription. So onto those three little dots, click onto record and transcribe, and then click onto transcription. Okay, and it's as easy as that. Copilot is running in the background. You can have recording on, it's not compulsory, so just bear that in mind. A lot of organizations that I speak to say that, well, can we have recording on all the time, every time we book in a Teams meeting? Yes, this would need to be enabled through admin, but it can be every time somebody books in a Teams meeting. This will need to be somebody internal booking that meeting. Transcription will be turned on automatically, so nobody ever forgets to turn it on. Right, so we have transcription on. Just bear in mind, it shows a picture of myself and it says waiting for others to join. This is the demo, so just imagine I am talking to somebody else. In this case, I'm talking to Jordan, who is a client, and we're discussing how he's got a new job opening, and he's talking to me about what the role is, what the responsibilities are, what he's looking for, etc. And I've clicked onto Copilot in the meeting, and I'm asking Copilot, are there any other questions I could be asking Jordan around this job posting? So not only is Copilot going to summarize what we've discussed, it's going to give me a helping hand to carry on that conversation. So that's going to stop me going back to Jordan and saying, actually, can I get some more information about this area? So Copilot has highlighted, well, maybe I can ask questions about the culture of the company. Are there any KPIs that this candidate will need to hit? Are there any current job projects that are running live that the candidate would be joining when they start the job, etc. And that's stuff that I haven't asked previously during our meeting. So you can have your AI colleague live on a Teams meeting. Jordan won't be able to see it, so the other attendee won't be able to see you communicating with Copilot. Only you, that's only your interface. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense so far. The next thing I want to mention is, well, what about when a meeting ends? So the meeting has ended. I've got a little static summary of what was discussed between me and Jordan. So it shows, obviously, talking about the job opening, talking about what I need to follow up on. Now, although I spoke to Copilot live on a meeting, you can also interrogate Copilot after the meeting as well. So maybe you want to get a little bit more information. So I've opened up Copilot and I've asked Copilot to draft me a professional follow-up email back to Jordan, just to say what we've discussed. And you're going to get it within seconds. So it comes across very professional, saying you've just drafted out what Jordan is looking for within this position, and then you follow up straight away saying this is everything that we've discussed. But also I mentioned in my prompt that I will be sending him the job posting once I've drafted that up. So a very seamless and very good communication with that client as well. Sometimes Copilot might citate, so it will say 1, 2, 3, 4. It will citate where it's got its information from within that transcription. If you don't want those citations, especially on an email, just tell Copilot don't include citations, and it would remove it for you rather than you having to manually delete those numbers. Okay, so that's an idea of what you can do when you want to catch up with Copilot or want to get an email from it, etc. So cut out that admin time. Everybody has to write emails, and I'm sure you've got more skills than just writing emails. So get Copilot to get rid of those mundane tasks for you. Next thing I want to discuss is Outlook. So let's say we've come back from annual leave or even the weekend and people have started to apply for jobs, are contacting you. So you've got a lot of unread emails. So I've got a lot of demo emails that I've created, and I want to use Copilot to clean up my emails and get me on top of my work. So I'm going to ask Copilot. I've opened up the Copilot, opens up a side panel here, gives you suggestions at the top to get started. Again, the prompt gallery, you can use it within your applications. You can talk to Copilot, but I'm asking Copilot to categorize my unread emails based on potential candidates that are looking for jobs, complaints, and then maybe prospect clients as well. And as you can see, in seconds, Copilot is categorizing it for me. So it's a lot more easier to digest when it's in this kind of format. So Copilot is mentioning the type of people that are emailing me, asking me, are there any job positions because they're open to work. There's a couple of complaints that's come through. There's some new prospects that's emailed me, the next actions that I need to do. And then when I scroll down, it's talking about anything that's like time sensitive. In this case, focus on these complaints first. And at the bottom, it says how I can prioritize my actions, again, focusing on the complaints. So I would say if you have got a lot of unread emails in your inbox, rather than just ask Copilot, can you summarize my unread emails? Ask Copilot to categorize them based on how you usually get your emails back. In my case, it would be around Copilot workshops, webinars, Copilot support, and that's how my one would be. But I guess around recruitment, it would be something similar to this. So hopefully, yeah, you can get up to date a lot more quickly and then move on to what you prioritize. Right, I'm going to reply back. As Copilot said, prioritize the complaints first. So I'm going to reply back, and we're going to use coaching. So as I mentioned, I'm going to show you a demo on this. Christian has mentioned that he's not satisfied with his service with us. He has quit his job because he has been offered another position through our service. However, he hasn't even got an expected start date, so he's out of work right now and he wants to escalate this complaint. Now, I've replied back. I've not sent it. I've clicked on coaching, and coaching basically looks at how am I responding back to that recipient. So it looks like the tone in this case, it says be more empathetic. Says rather than say I don't think that's completely fair, say I understand the customer, the client, the candidate's sentiment, saying addressing their concerns, and then under clarity mention who my manager is that I'm CCing in, etc. And you can apply all those suggestions. So rather, if you are maybe coming across quite blunt on your emails, then Copilot will try and soften those emails for you so it comes a little bit more empathetic, maybe a little bit more neutral as well if you want it to, and then Copilot will create an email for you if you want to, and you can replace your original one or just add it below and just tweak your original one so it reflects those suggestions. So coaching has definitely helped me with my job role. Like I used to say perhaps and maybe a lot on my emails because I used to type like I just speak out loud, and Copilot basically helped me be a bit more assertive with my email so I get my responses back a lot more quickly. So hopefully coaching is going to help you. If you prefer writing your own emails, then use coaching. But if you want Copilot to do the legwork for you, then use Draft. Okay. So that's Outlook. I'm going to stay on Outlook and I'm going to talk about Copilot chat. So when you open up on the top right hand side, I'm talking to Copilot. Can you please schedule a Teams meeting for myself, Christina, Anthony, and James? The duration needs to be about 30 minutes, and we'll be discussing future plans to run events around Copilot. So as you can see, I was talking to Copilot. That's a good feature. If you prefer to articulate your words through speech, you can do that. You might need to use the new Outlook rather than the classic Outlook to have this feature, but it should appear. And as you can see, Copilot has found mutual times that we are all available and has given me other options if I didn't want to use that one. And it's created that template for me. So I literally just need to send the invite. It's created the title, added all the attendees. So it's really ready to go if I don't need to tweak it, etc. So again, that probably would have taken you a couple of minutes, but imagine having to do that quite regularly. You're getting that time back by using Copilot. So schedule Copilot. I use that quite a lot. So I thought I would share that with you. Also, so we've mentioned obviously Teams and Outlook. There are other ones that we're going to be going through in the next couple of weeks. The next one would be Word and PowerPoint. It would be useful to because I'll be creating the demos as I go along. If you do have any suggestions on what you want to see, drop it in the chat now or the Q&A, and then I can try and incorporate that for our next webinars to come. Can, is there anything that you want to add to this?
Yeah, so from a day-to-day perspective, as I mentioned, I use Copilot quite extensively, and so does my team. So we use it whenever we're helping our customers, or maybe the note-taking facilitator, for example, to record and transcribe all of our daily stand-up calls. I'll show you quickly one of the things that I've just been typing away, badgering away on the side, trying to get some information out of Copilot to show you guys about one of the things I use it for. As you know, in any sales sort of environment, sales cycles can be very long, and in our case, they can last anywhere from 3 to 9 months. And during that time, we have a lot of conversations that go on with customers, and lots of information that gets passed in between. So I'm going to briefly share my screen, and I'm going to show you some of a conversation I've just had with Copilot while Angela was talking, showing you some conversations I had with Angela, basically. So bear with me one moment. I just need to make sure that I don't share anything that I don't want to share on the screen when I do this. This is why Angela records her stuff. Here we go. One moment. Okay. So I've told Copilot here within Teams. So on your Teams application, when you first get Copilot, you'll notice you've got a little Teams Copilot icon here at the top left-hand side. When you go into there, that's where you have your chat, etc. It won't look like this. I can't press the new chat icon because it will show you my past historical chats, and that may reveal information that I don't want to reveal at this moment. But here's a conversation I've had with it now about Angela. So I've said, can you get me up to speed with the conversation so far with Angela Pava? So it's gone out and kind of organized these into topic areas about what we've been discussing. I then asked it to kind of chronologically order it. It didn't quite do it very well here, but then I asked it again, and it's put it into a summary here when we first ran our first Copilot event back in December last year. So I asked it for 2024, as you can see here, and it's brought up all the emails, etc., and the Teams conversations I've had with Angela. I can now go and prompt this even further, but I didn't want to waste too much time today. So I said, okay, right, can I now go in? Okay, here's a bit more about 2024 and 2025 rather. So let's put everything in there. I can then go and prompt and ask it for more information, bring this up. So I do use it occasionally, not occasionally, I do use it often to get information out of my mailbox or from Teams chats that we've had. I then said, right, now please help me draft an email to Angela about the Copilot events. So it's now drafted me this email. It knows that we've organized these things because that's what I've done in the communications to Angela, and it outlined what the next steps are. So that's a live sort of interaction with Copilot that I've had while you've been listening to Angela's talk about how I would typically use it. I can show you other things, so I'm just going to kind of quickly stop sharing my screen again and see if I can show you another thing I did. So another AI agent that's part of the sort of Copilot suite, just like Facilitator, is something called Analyst. And Analyst can analyze data for you. But again, Angela's probably going to go into these things in more detail in another event. But again, it's accessed within Teams. So I used it last week to, bear with me one moment. Hang on one second. Right. I think I got it. Hopefully it doesn't show much information here. So I was trying to come up with ideas for our whole event series, and I kind of went to Copilot and tried to get it to come up with some titles. But what I did do was I tried to get information on people who had attended the past events, which are like this, and then create me a list of all the individuals, as you can probably see as I was scrolling across. It creates a list of people who attended an event in the past, generates an email to go out to those people, combs through that list, and you just give it prompts basically and information that you can point it at. As you can see, I've been going back and forth with Copilot to try and kind of summarize this list to generate a more specific targeted email list that I can use to then email the people who attended those events. Say, hey, I noticed that you didn't attend, you registered, but you didn't attend this event. Would you like to consider taking part in this event? And hey, by the way, there's all these other events taking place as well. I can use that data because I've exported it into Excel, and Angela's got a workshop catered on how Copilot works on Excel in a couple of weeks' time. So you can dive more into these kind of things that you can do with it. So not only is it some fancy note-taking tool that I use it for on a day-to-day basis, but I also use it for like analyzing data, helping me draft my emails, and even my LinkedIn posts. Of course, I can feed it as many bits and bobs of data that I have within my Microsoft 365 environment. So it has access to, as we've alluded to in the past, your Outlook, your Teams, your OneDrive, your SharePoint, whatever you have access to, it has access to as well. So whenever you're drafting those emails that you saw Angela doing, you can reference files within your OneDrive, within your SharePoint, or indeed other conversations or meetings that you've had. So typically, I have a lot of these Microsoft 365 discovery sessions with potential clients or with existing clients where I take them through features that they may not know exist within 365. So at the end of that, I will then say to Copilot, right, so I've had this meeting with so-and-so. Please generate me a summary email outlining all the things we discussed so that I can send it out to X about their meeting and about what they learned today. And outline some next steps on it. So that's another way I use it. So for example, in a recruit environment, it could be a conversation with a client or a candidate about a particular job role. Like Angela alluded to, you can create a job specification out of a kind of a phone call that you've had. And that brings me to another point within Microsoft Teams, which a lot of people aren't aware of. I was at the TRN Golf course yesterday. TRN Golf Championship yesterday. And I was talking to people about whether they knew if you could make phone calls out of Microsoft Teams, and a lot of people didn't know this. And people tend to pay, I don't know, 35, 40 quid for applications like Device or what's that other one, Dialpad and so on. But you can have outbound phone calls within Microsoft Teams. And the beauty about having Copilot with that is that it can also transcribe, record, and summarize all those phone calls you make. So there is an endless amount of possibilities that you can have within your Microsoft Suite alongside Copilot that enhances those for you. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop talking because I talk a lot. And if I don't stop myself, I'm going to keep going on. And I'm going to open up the floor to questions. If anyone's got any specific questions to ask, please raise your hands. I will unmute you and you can talk. I would like this to be as interactive as possible. And if you want us to demo something, please do go ahead and ask. Don't be shy. And believe me, I think most people here are quite new to Copilot, so don't feel pressurized not to ask your questions. Oh, here we go. Got a nice question here from Ryan. Ryan, I'm going to allow your mic now. You should unmute yourself before you talk on your side, please, Ryan.
Sure. Hi. Nice to thank you so much, Angela, Can, for setting this up and showing. I get so lost with Copilot, so it's actually quite good to see how it's demoed properly. So that's very helpful. Thank you. Just curiously, there was a point at the beginning where you said about transcribing the meeting, and on the right, I know that you click the X during that demo to get rid of the actual transcribe. But as the recipient, let's say it was me that wanted to transcribe it, and the person on the other side having the meeting, would they be distracted by all the words, or do they have to physically mute that? Do they have to physically close that box themselves? Is it visible to them all the time? How does that bit work?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. It's always good to let the other people know that you're turning transcription on, because they will be aware. They will get the pop-up saying that you consent for Ryan to turn transcription on, and they will have to physically close it, just like how I did in my demo, in order to get rid of it. So they could easily close it down. It's just to make sure that they're aware that transcription has been turned on, even if you haven't made them aware verbally.
Okay, no, that's good to know. Thank you for letting me know.
Just to add to that, actually, Angela, Microsoft did announce that they're going to bring out a feature. I think it's towards the end of June or early July. That's going to go general availability, but it's basically where you can transcribe the call while it's happening, not necessarily record it. So in that case, you're not going to get that notification to say that it's been transcribed.
Yeah, so it's actually already available. When you book in your Teams meeting, so over Teams, there will be an option saying Copilot only during the meeting. And what that means is the other people that attends won't see, although you've clicked on sorry, you don't even need to click on transcription. It's a temporary transcription that's running during the meeting. So when you seen my demo, it showed like a static summary when the meeting ended. You don't get that with the temporary transcription. You only get the feature of talking to Copilot live during a Teams meeting. So you'll have to open up your Copilot during the meeting saying, can you give me a summary? Any questions that I need to ask, etc. And then when the meeting ends, you don't get the transcription. That's why it's called temporary.
So I'm going to quickly share my screen again and just show you that anyway live. So when you're setting up a meeting, you click on it here. Now you can see on mine, I've got the thing where you tick it to say that's the Teams meeting. After a couple of seconds, facilitator is going to turn up. Now, facilitator is not generally available yet. You can turn it on your tenant on the tenant level. That's something that we help our customers do. So you can turn it on. That way, facilitator takes notes as the meeting is progressing. And then obviously in the meeting options, this is where Angela mentioned, if you go down to the bottom in the meeting options, there is, click on it. There is this option here, only during the meeting, and that's the option that you take if you don't want people to know that it's been transcribed. It will still provide you with a summary and stuff of the call afterwards. That was it really on that part. Here's where you can set the transcription to start automatically when you schedule a meeting. So if you are going to record and transcribe, then you want to take this before the meeting starts. That way you don't forget to turn it on when the meeting starts going on. Obviously, we'll notify the participants that meeting is being recorded. Any other questions?
So there's a couple of questions in the chat saying, can I use Copilot on my Outlook app, which was a bit older? So there's Classic Outlook and there's New Outlook. The Classic Outlook, you will still have draft features like drafting with Copilot, the coaching, so helping you write your emails better, summary, so summarizing certain all your emails. You won't have the schedule with Copilot. There's a couple of other features that you might not have. Unless you move on to the New Outlook. Eventually, you will get those features. It's just Classic Outlook is like last in line to get like the new features of Outlook. So I don't know when it would appear, but you'll get some aspects of it using the Classic Outlook. If it's not turned on, there is a way to turn it on, which is a little bit technical. So I'll leave that with you, Can. But yes, there is a way to turn it on.
So just for those who like Classic Outlook, because not a lot of people do like the New Outlook. On Classic Outlook, your view looks like this. Obviously, you got Copilot here on the editing screen here, as Angela mentioned. There's draft and coaching there. On the New Outlook, when you literally click the mouse here, it'll start asking you if you want to draft with Copilot. Now, you have that same functionality on the iOS app and the Android app as well. So, for example, I use Copilot quite often when I'm on the go. So if I get an email from a client and they ask me for something, I will click here, like on a new email. Let me just see if I can bear with me 1 second before I go any further. See if I can get the new Outlook, new draft email open. Okay, here we go. Of course, we're not going to be sharing anything sensitive. Okay, so you see here on the new Outlook, when you open up an email, you got this little draft with Copilot already on here. You can also type up an email, or what I tend to do is I put bullet points down. So bullet point 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, like this. I'll then highlight it and then ask Copilot to rewrite it or get coaching on it, make it shorter, make it longer, whatever it is. On the old Outlook, you don't seem to have that option. You can do this, which then brings this up. So it's a bit more archaic in that sense. I like the way that the new Outlook handles it, and it's more of a unified thing across the board. And again, within Outlook or Teams, you always have this Copilot icon here, and that is where most of your stuff, where you do most of your interactions with Copilot, basically on a day-to-day basis, outside of the main apps, if that makes sense. Okay, any other questions? Anything that anyone would like to see in particular, or anything that people who already have it? I know in the audience today, we have 2 of our customers as well. Anything that you've found particularly difficult or particularly challenging, or should I say something that you'd like to do with Copilot but don't know quite how to do it yet? Okay, I have seen quite a few of these Otten note takers saying you only got 30 seconds left. You definitely will not have that problem with Copilot. It can transcribe and record a 9-hour conversation, for example. All right, well, if no one else has questions, then I will end the session now. You will get a survey after this. Please do fill out the survey. If you do want any further guidance, do feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure you will see an email from me at some point. There are other events taking place over the course of this month and next month. We have one on Microsoft 365 coming up as well on the 25th, which I suggest strongly that everyone should attend, because it'll be all about the different apps within Microsoft 365 that you may or may not know about, and how, again, Copilot may integrate with those. So without any further ado, have a great day, guys, and take care. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.